Hello everybody, I'm meteorologist Ben Dery here with your weather update on the stream, and yes, it has been pretty warm, hasn't it? We're in the middle of a streak of 80-degree weather that's going to last well through the weekend and likely into at least the first half of next week. We don't see any major changes in the forecast moving forward, so if you're looking forward to cooler temperatures, even any rain chances, we don't have them in your forecast. Yesterday, for many of us, was the warmest day of the season so far. Didn't quite hit 90 degrees at MSP. We topped out at 89 degrees for our high temperature, but many of us saw 90. Menominee saw 91, Faribault 90 degrees, St. Cloud, Alexandria, Wilmer, Fargo, Moorhead all saw temperatures well into the 90s. Now today, temperatures will be a little cooler than yesterday. There's a Canadian high pressure system which is settling itself over Lake Superior right now. Clockwise flow around that high pressure system is going to subtly drop our temperatures. We're still reaching well into the 80s today, which is still more than 10 degrees warmer than average, but the more noticeable thing will be the dip in humidity. The last couple of days we've seen dew points in the lower 60s, which the dew point is just a measure of how much moisture, how much water is in the air. When we see higher dew points, it feels a bit more muggy, more tropical outside. Lower dew points, it feels drier, almost crisp, and more comfortable outside. That'll be the main difference with your forecast for today. Plenty of sunshine, minimal rain chances, and you can see even 90s across western Minnesota. So the summer heat is still here, and this is a very typical time of year to see our first 90-degree day. Didn't happen yesterday. It's not going to happen today around the Twin Cities, but this is a look at our first 90-degree day over the last 7 years, and you can see it actually varies quite a bit. Case in point, the last couple of years, back in 2025, our first 90-degree day was pretty early. It was May the 11th. 2 years ago, it was very late. Our first 90 didn't happen until July 14th, so 10 days after the 4th of July, which is still pretty wild. But in the last 30 years, the average first 90, at least at MSP, is I think May 30th is the actual date. So late May, early June, it's very typical to see temperatures this warm. Here's a look outside. This is our shore view camera. You can see traffic moving along rather nicely. Good amount of sunshine outside today, lower humidity than the last couple of days, and we will stay dry through the weekend. For the most part, areas in far southwestern Minnesota might see a few isolated thunderstorms on Saturday, but the rest of us, the vast majority of us, will stay dry. And this dry, warm pattern finally begins to break down next week. We've had this big ridge of high pressure over us all week long. We're in a blocking pattern, what we call in the weather world an omega block, because a wind field in the mid-levels of the atmosphere kind of resembles the Greek symbol omega. So you can imagine this big ridge of high pressure right on top of us. It's a very slow-moving pattern, so day-to-day conditions don't change very much. We finally start to see that pattern begin to break down at the middle of next week. That should, at least in theory, open the door up for some rain opportunities, and by then we're going to be needing some rain. Take a look at the dew point trend over the last 12 hours, and it was right at about 9-10 o'clock last night where we saw a sharp drop in humidity from the upper 50s down into the middle 40s, and we've been kind of hanging out with dew points in the 40s, which again is more comfortable for this time of year. There's that high pressure system. Notice the center of circulation right there, generally right over Thunder Bay, northwestern edge of Lake Superior. We're on we are south and west of that ridge, or that high pressure system, so you can see that clockwise flow around that high. Easterly breeze today, kind of a fresh breeze to start off the day, and that's what's also bringing that dew point, the moisture down, because that high pressure system actually originated over Hudson Bay. So it's been a minute since we've seen at least a strong high pressure system like this bringing this much sunshine for us. So let's take a look at our radar satellite composite. Some high clouds starting to drift into southwestern part of the state. Denser clouds over parts of Nebraska and the Dakotas. That's where the weather is, the weather's going to be on the rainier side over the next couple of days. That high pressure system keeps us high and dry the next few days. Watch as we head into your Friday. That wind eventually turns more from that southwest or southeasterly direction, so a slight bump in temperatures for your Friday. And notice the clouds and the threat for rain will be off to our south and west. Parts of the high plain states will see wetter conditions, while we bask in quieter, drier conditions. And again, Saturday afternoon, far southwest Minnesota might see an isolated shower or thunderstorm, but the rest of us are forecast to stay totally dry. Here's your weekend getaway forecast. Not a whole lot of changes, which is pretty typical of these blocking patterns. The warmest day is going to be on Friday. Many of us will be well into the 80s to near 90 degrees. Just subtle cooling heading into Saturday and Sunday. And I think on Saturday, with that weather system developing to our south and west, it's probably going to throw a lot of those mid and high level clouds our direction. So that will probably give us more of that hazy, filtered sun, where it's the day where you still see the sun, but it's hiding behind that veil of clouds. I think that'll be the case on Saturday. And just a heads up, if you are traveling to Duluth or anywhere up the North Shore from today through the weekend, just keep in mind that temperatures near the lake are going to be much cooler than areas inland. If you are looking at your actual forecast, don't look for the forecast for Duluth. Look for the forecast for Sky Harbor Airport. KDYT is the code, and that is where you find the actual conditions, what it's like for downtown Duluth, as well as for Canal Park and Park Point Beach. Those are the areas, the more touristy areas, and it's typically a whole lot cooler near the lake when we have that onshore breeze, especially this time of year. Here's your weekend forecast for the Twin Cities. Partly cloudy on Saturday with that veil of hazy overcast. But another warm day, mid-80s for highs, and it's important to note our average high for this time of year is in the lower 70s still. Minimal changes heading into Sunday, maybe brighter conditions, so we'll call it pleasant sunshine, and temps remain about 10 degrees warmer than average. Here's our precip forecast. This is going to take us all the way through Tuesday evening. There's the wetter conditions, some decent rainfall for parts of Nebraska, and even the Dakotas seeing some rainfall. We see minimal rainfall for much of Minnesota, and Wisconsin staying basically bone dry all the way through early next week. Now, we are going to see some updates with our drought situation as well. Here's the latest update. Drought monitor was released earlier this morning, and you can see this yellow shaded area. That's abnormally dry conditions. That's an update from last week. Much of eastern Minnesota and western Wisconsin have been added to that abnormally dry list. We still have that moderate drought just north of Brainerd, as well as far southwestern Minnesota. That hasn't really changed much, but until we see some significant rain in the forecast, which is not really the case, we're likely going to see an expansion of our drought, and it's not until the tail end of next week when we see our first significant chance for rain, and even then it's still kind of far out, so we'll see what happens. Here's your 7-day forecast. There's your blocking pattern that continues to give us that quiet weather. Feels like summer, but without the humidity today. A little hot and hazy as we head into your Friday. Weekend looking rather nice, just that hazy overcast for Saturday, but otherwise we see more sunshine Sunday into Monday. Bright and warm conditions continue into Tuesday, and there's that pattern finally beginning to break down. That's on Wednesday, where some isolated storms return to the forecast. But even then, that's not necessarily a slam dunk forecast. Now, if you are just joining us, boy, it has been pretty warm, hasn't it? These are high temperatures, what we saw yesterday. Many of us, it was the warmest day of the season so far, including in the Twin Cities. 88 we've hit twice so far this month. And yesterday we were a degree warmer than that. 89 degrees was our high. In fact, officially I think it was 89.5 degrees. Didn't quite push over to 90 degrees, but regardless, it was a warm day for most of us. The exception was, of course, near Lake Superior. Many of us saw our first 90-degree day of the season. Today will be noticeably cooler. We'll say temperatures drop by about 5 degrees, especially central and northern Wisconsin, where we have that cooler, drier air kind of originating. Temps will be a little bit cooler. Far western Minnesota still hanging out in the lower 90s, but I think the more noticeable thing will be the drop in humidity. We've got dew points that are falling from the lower 60s the last couple of days into the 40s, which is, especially this time of year, pretty dry. Feels rather crisp, but it's not really a weird time of year to see our first 90-degree day. I think the last 30 years or so, the average first 90 in the Twin Cities is like late May or early June. So it's pretty typical to see that, but it can vary. Take a look at the last couple of years. 2025, our first 90-degree day happened pretty early, May the 11th. Just 2 years ago, our first 90 didn't happen until 10 days after the 4th of July. July 14th was our first 90. That was the latest first 90 in nearly 60 years. But again, typically late May, early June is when we usually see them. Here's a look outside. We are seeing a mostly sunny sky today. Main weather headlines. I think the more noticeable change is going to be the drop in humidity. So it's going to feel a bit more tolerable outside. So if you're not a big fan of the high heat and humidity, today is really your day in this stretch. We will stay quiet through the weekend Far southwest Minnesota might see a couple of isolated thunderstorms on Saturday, but otherwise the vast majority of us will stay dry, and that dry and warm pattern finally begins to break down next week. We have this big ridge of high pressure on top of us right now, which has been keeping the weather, at least day-to-day conditions, very similar. That pattern finally begins to break down the midpoint of next week. And when that happens, in theory, we should get some weather systems moving through that should give us some rain opportunities. However, we don't have anything imminent in the forecast. We have isolated showers and thunderstorms next Wednesday. That's our best chance of seeing showers at least over the next 7 days, but even then, confidence is rather low. Take a look at our dew point over the last 12 hours, and you will see that drop in humidity that happened pretty abruptly between about 9 and 10 o'clock last night. We must have had some kind of front move through where we had dew points in the upper 50s. That dropped into the 40s, and since then, it's been feeling rather comfortable outside. Dew points in the 40s. Feels rather nice, especially after a stretch of very hot, muggy days. Think of, say, late August or even early September, where it's been hot, sticky heat, and then all of a sudden you get that first fresh cold front moving through of the fall. That's kind of what it feels like outside today. Here's the wider range look at dew points, and the culprit is a high pressure system which is originating from Hudson Bay. It's currently sitting over Lake Superior. Notice that clockwise flow around that high pressure system, and you can see where that drier air is beginning to infiltrate. Most of us seeing dew points in the 40s. Sioux Falls still has dew points in the lower 60s, which is tolerable, but a bit on the muggier side. But that high will keep us high and dry over the next several days. We do have some high clouds starting to move in from the southwest. There is a larger weather system in the center part of the country right now, providing widely scattered rain showers, but this high is going to keep us, again, on the drier side over the next couple of days. Watch as we head into your Friday and Saturday. That surface high is going to slip over the central Great Lakes, over Michigan, say, and when that happens, we're going to introduce more of a southeasterly wind at the surface. That means Friday's temperatures will be a little warmer than what we're going to see today. So upper 80s, probably not quite at 90 degrees tomorrow, because I think there is going to be a thin veil of overcast. But notice as we head into Friday afternoon, rain showers really showing up over parts of Nebraska, North and South Dakota. Some heavier thunderstorms possible heading into early Saturday as well. You can see that veil of overcast kind of nudging into a good chunk of the state on Saturday. Most of us are going to be rain-free. However, in far southwestern Minnesota, we might see some of those thunderstorms work their way over the border there. So just keep in mind that's where the best chance for showers is, at least through the weekend. The vast majority of us should stay dry, not only through this weekend, but through early next week. Your weekend forecast, if you're getting out of Dodge, looks like this, very summer-like, although I will say that lake temperatures, if you are heading to the lake, are going to be a whole lot cooler than what the air temperature is, so something to keep in mind. Friday's the warmest day. We'll see temperatures well into the 80s to near 90, and then just subtle cooling as we head into Saturday and Sunday. And another thing to note, too, if you are heading to Duluth or anywhere near Lake Superior over the next couple of days, there will be an onshore breeze, so temperatures near the lake are forecast to be vastly cooler, much cooler than areas further inland, so something to keep in mind as well. Here's your weekend forecast for the Twin Cities. We should see a partly cloudy sky on Saturday. That veil of overcast, the high elevation overcast will be with us, so temperatures will be a little bit cooler, but regardless, still about 10 degrees warmer than average. Similar conditions on Sunday, maybe a little bit more sunshine, but overall day-to-day conditions are not really going to change very much. And this is the precip forecast, which starts this morning, and we had this going on all the way through Tuesday evening. Dry for Minnesota, dry for Wisconsin. The wetter conditions are going to stay off to the west. So typically when we see these blocking patterns take place, we see the same weather day after day. So if you see rain, you're probably going to continue to see rainy conditions. But if you're like us, if you're on the drier side, you're going to continue to see dry weather as well. This is the latest drought monitor, which was just released today, and you can see an expansion of that abnormally dry weather or dry soil. That's now for the Twin Cities and basically the western third of Wisconsin. We still have moderate drought for areas from the western edge of the Iron Range, Brainerd up towards the Bemidji area, and we still have that moderate drought into southwest Minnesota as well. Those have not seen any expansion, but until we see some significant rain chances in the forecast, we're probably going to see that drought get worse, certainly before it gets better. So something to be aware of as we head into the first few days of June. It'll be a while before we see some significant rain, and even in our 7-day forecast, it hasn't materialized just yet. 85 today, but probably feeling cooler than that considering how low the humidity is today. Hot and hazy heading into your Friday. That's the warmest day in your 7-day. Temperatures remain warmer than average through early next week. Isolated storm chances by Wednesday, but again, the chances are pretty small and confidence is low looking this far out.